Hey, oi! Right, we thought we'd take a break from our rehearsal for the amateurs to tell you a little bit about our new project, Metal Gods of the Apocalypse, coming to a crowdfunding place near you. Rob and Adam, you've been working on this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how this came to be?
This idea came up in conversation, as it does, that wouldn't it be cool to get to play the Horseman of the Apocalypse? Wouldn't that be just awesome? And then, okay, what sort of world could possibly, could you game in? How would that work? And we started fleshing out this idea of what we wanted to have happen. But that was the beginning, was this, the apocalypse, right? The Horseman of the Apocalypse. But, you almost immediately, right, saw the potential.
Yeah, where do you go with the Horseman of the Apocalypse?
So the idea is maybe the players get transported into another world where they become the Judgment. They become Judgment Day. The early metal albums defined my youth. So Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest and all of these things we were talking about kept bringing up album visuals. And it kept influencing the way I was thinking about how this adventure might unfold.
So then if the world is going to be metal and we're going for scenes that evoke the classic album covers, then then you've got to have the priests be a little bit metal, right? You've got to have the whole world have a metal aesthetic, and of course their horsemen are going to be metal. And so we just had a blast sticking in references to all of the great rock icons, their the names from people in the band, their song titles, even some of the critics are in there. So we stuffed this thing full of, so it's not about playing a band, it's about playing the gods of the apocalypse. But there's so much in there. We just had a blast.
Yeah, it was totally fun to do that. Yeah.
And you've got the critics in there because every adventure needs a villain.
Yeah, well, and that, right, they're not all that powerful.
It's pretty cool because in thinking about the visuals of some of the demons that the players have to fight in order to become the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you built those demons off of kind of popular rock critics that were raging against Dio and raging against Sabbath and raging against as being not musical, not musicians.
The world's under attack. You got to have some urgency to that, right? How do you make sure there's this sense that you got to get moving, you got to get through this, and you came up with this fantastic system for that. Yeah.
So we've got a couple different structures in this module that make it play a little differently. Instead of a random encounter table, in essence, the longer players take and the more they explore, there's a timed encounter table. As the players take longer amounts of time, more of the world starts falling apart. And it also makes the demons who are trying to take over the world, they become more powerful. And the hurdles the players have to overcome become more difficult the longer they take. And the players feel this urgency because it's built into what is happening in each of those timed encounters.
The urgency part really kicks in because it sneaks up on you. You don't know it as a player when it starts out, and you're kind of going through each encounter, and those are, challenging enough, which is great. And there's some really fun, unique encounters and puzzles and such. And then next thing you know, oh geez, we gotta keep the pace up here. This is, these scenarios are getting worse. The threat is building on us. And what I like also about it is, it's not just random rooms. There's a story behind it. There's a god with a dual identity. There's choices that the party has to make with sort of alliances they want to pursue. So it's a deep metal adventure.
A lot of Gaming Honors fans, about Matt Morrow, who is our long-standing cover artist. He did beautiful work. You guys want to talk about this at all?
Go ahead.
This is an homage to an ancient oil painting. We told Matt, here's the vibe. And then, we're going metal. We want to pay homage to some metal gods, and then if you look down here, you see our long-standing party getting trampled by the apocalypse. You see the city on the hill in the background. I just can't believe. I just love this piece of art. It's amazing. The 4 different horses.
Well, we asked Matt to pay homage to the metal gods of our world, which are Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy Osbourne, and Judas Priest, as well as from Motorhead.
If you've backed any of our other projects, you know that one of our first stretch goals always is a PDF of the clean cover, so that you can go ahead and print this out and put it on your wall, which in your studio, if you need some art for your studio, this is going to be a perfect addition. I know, it's incredible. I just take you right to England, don't I? I know, it's a gift and a curse. So yeah, that is a great piece of art.
So you're in a basilica that's slowly being corrupted. So we made this awesome deck of, some of are powerful, some of them are weaker, but like these blessings you can get from the religious structure of this place. And so in all sorts of situations, players can get these blessings, but then as the timer kicks over, you're shuffling in corruptions from another deck full of terrible corruptions into that deck of blessings. So each time you get a blessing, there's an increasing chance that instead you're going to get this curse, this corruption. And in some cases, even one of the ones you're holding corrupts, and you lose that blessing, it flips over. And so again, that's this mounting urgency. But then when it comes to the big demon fight, how far you've gotten into that process sets where you're beginning with the strength of the demons in that big fight. And those demons are represented by another mechanism, because you can't do a mass battle with thousands of characters, right? So there's these demon dice, and every round to represent what the demons accomplish, you're rolling that, you're looking up on a huge table to figure out what the demons have done, and those demon dice get bigger as bad things happen. And so there's a sense of things moving forward the whole time. You've got to get your ceremonies in order. You've got to, release the gods of the apocalypse. And then, of course,
you become them. And so after all of that, the players actually get to become the gods of the apocalypse. They get to reap. And at the very end, they have the horns of judgment, although they don't necessarily need to be horns. They can be other types of musical instruments. And based on what they decide to do, they can end that world. They can support different gods who have different ideals of what they want to do. They can even keep, right, and become vassals of a demon lord. So there's a real choice in the end that has a real impact on this world that they were transported to. And the players that decide to kind of render judgment, they can then be transported back to their home world. Others who decide to stay on as vassals of a demon god that's trying to take over this world, well, they might have to stay and be generals of that demon god.
First of all, you have to earn the right to become, a horseman there. And when I say earn it, I mean you really have to earn it. It's a struggle in a great way. And when you do, I got to tell you, that was one of the great thrills of gaming. When you reach that height, like you had take on powers you've never experienced before, believe me, and it's a lot of fun.
All right, so we are really excited about Metal Gods of the Apocalypse. Please back now, spread the words with your friends and neighbors, and most importantly, bring the metal! Sorry.
That's your train,
Jack
right?
Tripper back there.